this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing the project recipe for Wonderful Day. Wonderful Day came out about a month ago, and it is a really, really nice neutral palette, perfect for just about any subject matter. So I am excited to share this one with you. This one would actually be perfect in a heritage album, and I can totally see it in some of the photos that I showed you the other day when we were talking about organization, and all those old photos of me growing up in the 70s. You'll see when you see the project recipe exactly what I mean. But let's go ahead and check out my workspace so that we can get started. All right, here's my workspace for today. And as you can see, we are all set to go ahead and get this project recipe done. So Wonderful Day is a fun new collection that came out about a month ago, and it's lovely for several reasons, but I have to shout its praises because I love how neutral it is. I love that you can pair this with just about anything, and of course you can see reflected in the stickers that come along with this collection that it's kind of geared towards like heritage and gratitude, the time of year that we are in. But you really could use this because it is so neutral with anything. You could pair it with any color and it would look really, really lovely. It's all done in browns and gray tones, and it has a bonus pack of paper that is all wood grain, which is so wonderful. There are just a lot of designs that you can do using wood grain paper, and I'm so glad that we have that back. We had it a while ago, and then it all got bought out, and so it's taken a little while to get that back into the line, and so I'm just really thrilled that we have wood grain paper again. So we're going to put the project recipe together today. It looks a little bit involved, but really I think you're going to see that it is not a terribly difficult one. And so I have out here the laser cut embellishments that are the words we could add. I have the sticker pack we're going to add as embellishments later. I'm just going to set those aside for right now. I have and I always have to look, the square link chain punch. I have that because that is the border maker that makes these pieces right here. So we're going to use that today. And I have permanent and repositionable adhesive that we're going to use. I'm going to set that aside though for just a second while we get a few pieces cut. My base pieces are going to be the wood grain papers that you see here. I feel like this wood grain paper goes along with the shimmer paper that is recommended, as well as the dotted Swiss pattern that's on the back of this kind of journal-y looking paper with words that you can't really read on it. So we're going to use this as our base. So I'm just going to set that aside until we need the base, and we're just going to deal with these two pieces of paper for right now. These are the only two papers that you need to worry about cutting for this project recipe. As you can see, looking at the cutting guide, we only have the two papers, and the border is going to be punched out of the shimmer paper. So that's going to be this represented by this peach on this side. So the dotted Swiss and the signature pattern paper are going to be the one that we're going to cut the most out of. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my trimmer real quick, and we're going to go ahead and cut this one page that we need to cut. I'm going to move this so you can still see it, but we're going to put it kind of up there in the corner. We're going to work on cutting I don't know why my papers never go where I want them to go. Okay, I want this one The shimmer paper is going to sit up there until we're ready to punch it. Right now we're going to just cut this page right here, and we're going to use this paper to do it. Now this paper, though it's not directional on this side, it is directional on this side. So we want to make sure, even though we can't really read these words, we want to make sure that it's looking like we could read these words, right? So these long triangles are going to be horizontal. So that means that all of our long cuts are going to need to go along with the lines of the words. So we're going to start there. We're going to cut 4 pieces that are 2 by 12. And that's where we're going to start. So let's see, I'm going to utilize the left side of where my blade is going to cut. We're going to measure to 2 inches, and we're going to cut 4 pieces. For those of you who may be advisors and have been wondering why this project recipe hasn't been done before on my channel, I try to give you at least a month to be able to use the project recipes in your crops with your people, in case you want to use those as incentives to get your people to come to your crops. So, but after a month, I feel like if you were going to use it, you've had time to use it. So now I'm going to share how I would do the project recipe. Okay, so these are 2 mats that are cut out of the remaining piece. Just turn it sideways and cut it at 6 inches, and you've got your 2 4x6 mats. And so here we go. Then we are going to cut all 4 of these into long triangles, okay? So I'm going to use the reverse of 2 of them, but we're not going to worry about that just now. Right now we're going to just worry about cutting the triangles. So these 2 pieces that I have right here, I'm going to stack, and I'm going to cut from the left corner to the right corner. Okay, so I'm just going to place these on the cutting line with this corner on the cutting line up here and the lower corner down here on the cutting line, making sure that they're nice and tight and at least stacked. And I'm going to cut very slowly at the beginning so that I don't cause my paper to bunch. Okay, I'm going to keep these stacked just like that so that I can keep them straight. Now these other 2 are going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to cut from this corner to this corner. So the right hand corner is going to go on the top. The left hand corner is going to go on the bottom. All right. So there are those 2. Okay. Now we are done cutting paper, but we still need to punch our borders. So I'm going to just stack that and put it away. We're going to come back in here with the square, I have to look again, sorry, the square link chain border maker cartridge. Now the reason that we call it a chain is because it separates completely from the paper. So we don't have to do any trimming or anything like that. It's automatically going to separate, which is a little bit easier. You can do something similar with other border maker cartridges that are not chain cartridges, but you do have to trim them. With this one, you don't have to trim it, so it goes really quick. So we're going to punch, how many of these do we need? 6. We need 6 punched borders. So this is going to be sped up in the video. And, oh, okay. This is a punched, you need to be careful that you're not going to get caught in your punch housing. So just note to self, be careful, and we'll speed up the rest. So just a quick hint, when you're dealing with a chain like this one, where if you start at one end and try to work to the other, you often get caught. What I try to do is I start on the second one down and then go forward, and then there is more of the punched edge, so it's less likely to get caught in the punch as you're continuing down. You don't have to do it that way. It's just something I have found is helpful to keep you from getting caught up there too badly. All right. So now we are done punching, and we can go ahead and move to assembling. So I'm just going to put this away here real quick and grab my base sheets. Here they are. So now we need to decide, do we want the wood grain to go up and down like paneling, or do we want it to go side to side? I think I'm inclined to go side to side. It flows better for me. This way makes it feel like, you know, it's a den or something like that. Maybe that's better. I don't know. I think we're not going to see very much of it, but I think I'm going to go, so I think I'm going to go this way because we'll get more of a variety of planks if we turn it sideways. That's just my first thought though. So let's see how that goes, okay? So firstly, we are going to take, let's see, they don't really identify which one is the reverse on our instructions. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lay this out here. I'm going to flip this one over so we have the dark on the bottom up here. This one will be the dark on the bottom on this side right here. All right, then we're going to take this one's going to be the light on the top here and the light on the top here. So it is going to be upside down. Drat. Unless we do, yeah, let's do that. I'm flipping them over. So we're going to use this one down here and this one up here so that the writing is going the right direction. So like that. And then we're going to have this one so the writing is going the correct direction, and this one. And we're going to flip this one and turn it and put it there and there. Now, is that right? Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so the triangles are the first thing that goes down. So I'm going to grab my repositionable adhesive. I'm grabbing my repositionable adhesive because whenever you're dealing with a long point like this, you want to make sure that you can get that as glued down as possible. And when you have this repositionable adhesive, you can just run right out to the tip and it will glue that, it'll adhere that right down to your page, which is so lovely. I can remember the days when we didn't have repositionable adhesive and we had to try to use precision point adhesive or heaven forbid you try to use tape runner, because oh my gosh, it just wouldn't turn out as lovely as this does. So grateful for the company that developed this adhesive, for their time and talents. We appreciate them. Okay, so this is going to go right up against the other triangle, just like that. We're going to adhere all of them in the exact same way. Always do the one against the straight edge first. You'll be happier in the long run. Okay. Hold on a second. Let's try this again. Okay. All right, so there are our two bases with the initial borders placed on there. Now we're going to take our punched borders and we're going to put 3 on each side. So 3 over here, 3 over here. And let me just see if it tells us. It says the first one needs to be 1 1/4 inches from the edge. Okay, so we're gonna come in here with our repositionable adhesive again so that we can get that easily on all those little breaks. I'm going to place my paper on my mat so I can line it up and get a better sense of where 1 1/4 inches is. If you want to eyeball this, you can eyeball it. I full on give you permission. But if you want to be, you know, as precise as the design entails, then you'll want to try to measure this out so that it's hitting, the corner is hitting at the 1 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so that's the first one, 1 1/4 inches. Then we're going to do the second one at 2 1/2, so an additional 1 1/4 inches over. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this lined up here. We're going to go to 2 1/2, and this is measuring from the point where from this edge, from the left hand edge. Okay, so 2 1/2 is going to be here. Two and a half, right to there. See how quick and easy that is when you're working on a mat? I just love it. If you have this Creative Memories 13-inch self-healing mat, that's going to be your best friend. Okay, and then we want 3 3/4 inches. So lining my paper back up, and 1, 2, 3 3/4 is going to be right there. Super, super easy when you're working on a mat. All right. so there's that. Let's do this side. Now you don't have to run, you'll notice I'm not running my tape runner just all the way down the edge. You can if you really want to, but you don't need to. This adhesive is strong enough that you really don't have to make it touch every single bit of whatever you're trying to glue down. Okay, so I am guessing just a little bit, but I know that that is 1 1/4. And then just making sure my paper is lined up. There we go. So 1 1/4. Then we're going to go 2 1/2, which is going to be there. And then we got 1 more. And the 1 more is going to be at 1, 2, 3 3/4. So right here. Basically, you're putting 3/4 of an inch between each one. May need to move that over just a smidge. There, that's better. All right. Now, as far as where your mats are going to go, and you can put these either this side up or this side up, whichever makes you happy. I think I'm going to go with the dot side up, because I always like a mat to be a little darker than the photo. So I feel like the dots are going to help the photos that go on here really stand out. So that's where that's why I'm choosing to use this side rather than this side to frame those. You could choose to do one or the other. You could choose to do one of each, but you can see kind of the difference. And it might be, actually, now that I've said that, might be that it's good to have a lighter frame, given that this is so much darker. So maybe I need to take back my words. But those are optional. And if you watched my video recently where we talked about using your layouts that you have put together that are that you don't have photos on yet, you'll just be adding some repositionable adhesive like I just did on there and sticking it down. And what that allows you to do is when you get your photos, you can come back, and when you choose to use this layout, you can pull it out and say, I like the dark better, so I'm just going to flip it over, because your photo is going to cover that little bit of adhesive that I just added to the middle. So it won't matter either way. All right, so I'm just going to leave those there like that. Now we're going to add a couple of embellishments. Okay, so let's take a look at these and see what we want to add. So we've got a lot of tiles that look like home to me. You know, they look a lot like you would find in a home. So I think that's why I feel like this lends itself more to like heritage type photos or family photos, family groups. That's kind of where I would go with a layout with this. I feel like, how many of you remember back in the day those columns that we would find in the new houses that were built? I grew up in the early 70s, 80s era where there were homes that were built with these, or we had beads we would walk through in openings and things like that. Nostalgia. Okay. So let's see. If keeping that in mind, if I was to use this in a heritage album, I would probably use this Family is Where the Heart Is, or Making Memories with the Best People. Love that. Better Together. All of these are wonderful. But let's see. I think I'm going to go with Family is Where the Heart Is for one of them at least. And then maybe we should do this Making Memories with the Best People, and then we can use the corners that match this embellishment in another place on the layout. So let's go with this one. I'm gonna grab some foam squares. So we can put some foam squares on here. I'm going to put a big one in each corner, or in two opposite corners, like so. And then we'll put smaller ones in the other empty corners. Because I really don't like it when these big stickers sag and then you end up with something stuck in the middle. So that's just a little half piece I stuck in there to keep it from falling over. So we're going to stick that there, and I need another sheet with larger ones. Let's go with this one because it's handy. This is one of the older sheets, you can tell, because it has all of these medium size foam squares on it instead of the big ones. And I'm going to stick another one right in the middle, just because I can. Family is Where the Heart Is. Okay, so then not going to be using the 12-inch stickers on this one. Not going to be using the embellishment words because we've already got words in these. So just going to come in here. You can see these corners match the corners of this embellishment. So what if we took these corners and we could add these to the corner of each of these. Now, the way I'm going to do this though, because I don't know for sure that that mat is going to go that direction. I'm going to put the smallest foam squares I have right along the very edge, outside edge, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to take a larger one. I'm going to put that right in the middle. Now I'm not going to take the secondary tab off of this larger one. I'm only going to take the tab off of the smaller ones, like this. Okay, so we took the second layer off. Then we're going to take this and we're going to place it on here in such a way that I can still add the photo. I got that a little bit crooked. Foam squares are not terribly forgiving, so be careful. Try hard not to have to pick that back up when you place it down, because they tend to not appreciate being lifted back up again. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. So taking the little, what my friend Gaia would call a donchi, the little tiny bits off the back of the tiny little foam square. Okay, then we're going to just stick that down so we can slip a photo right down behind it, and it won't be a problem. And those will pull out that same design from this. Now we could put another one at the top corner. I think that's what I want to do, is put another one at the top corner. So we'll use these other two. Oh, I put that in the wrong place. Drat. Okay, let's see if I can get it to come off. I don't know if I'll be able to without destroying something. I don't care if I destroy the foam square, but I do care if I destroy the sticker. All right. Let's start over, shall we? These are super strong, these foam squares. So, yeah, you want to try to make sure that you don't put them in the wrong place, like I did. Because then it is a fight to get them to come off. I thought I would mention to all of you who are watching just a really quick thank you to all of you who have been so gracious and supportive of my daughter and her efforts to help me. There was a little while there as I was trying to recover from my carpal tunnel surgery, where I just didn't have it in me to do any recording, and so she stepped in and said, "I can do it, Mom," and she went ahead and recorded a few videos without any input from, well, with minimal, very minimal input from me, and you all were so gracious, and I really appreciate your encouraging her. She is a sweetie for volunteering, and it was just lovely to not have to worry about that, and not have to worry about my people, you, my friends who have been so sweet and watching my channel. Knowing that you would treat her well was really nice. It's not a small thing to try to record and talk to yourself, because literally that's what we're doing. We're talking to ourselves, knowing that y'all are going to watch, but we're talking to ourselves as we're recording, and that can be stressful. All right, so I'm putting this all here, assuming there's going to be a vertical photo here. So if there's not a vertical photo here, then you could, if we're going to turn this, we could add another piece up in here of cardstock and make that a journal box right above that photo. Just some thoughts popping through my head. All right, so there we've got some embellishing. We've got some embellishing that we ought to add to. Let's use one of these, which is very much like an arrow. I like that. And we'll add that. Let's see, maybe down here. And then also add a circle maybe in there. Diamond. I think I want to stick with the brown tones, so probably not the grays or anything. Let's do one of these kind of darker brown circles. Where do I want to put that? Maybe up here in the corner? Maybe down here? I just don't know. On top? Maybe I'll leave that like that. Come here. Sometimes these little guys are just hard to get off. Okay, so this is going to go overlapping the corner just a little bit and kind of centered over this last pillar. And then this one, we can add this other, just make it kind of go along with it. We'll have it point this way. Making memories with the best people. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. All right. Well, I'm excited to share this with you. I'm excited that it's October, which means Croptoberfest season. I hope you're able to either host some folks for Croptoberfest or to attend a Croptoberfest in your area. It's on my mind right now because my Croptoberfest is this weekend, so I'm excited about that. This is not a layout we're going to teach at Croptoberfest, but I think it turned out really cute. And I especially love the corners and that they kind of coordinate with that embellishment up there. Super fun. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy the fall, y'all.